we live in such a funny world because honestly, like a few weeks ago, I was seeing people doing videos like the Epstein files are just a distraction to cover up the fact that we're going to go to war with Iran. And now we're at war with Iran.
It's the
And
other
you know
way
what
around.
I see people go, the war in Iran is just a distraction from the Epstein files. I'm like, yo, what the?
Nothing is a distraction. Everything is going to shit.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah.
It's nothing is
I
a
think they're just
distraction.
doing a lot of bad stuff.
A
At the
lot
same
of bad things are happening. That's
Yeah.
all it is.
Yeah, and I mean, they do flood the zone, but that doesn't mean one thing isn't like a real thing. They're flooding the zone with real shit.
Yeah. I was also started to read, have you heard of the book, The Fourth Turning?
I know about it a lot.
Yeah,
it's
not worth the read. I'll say that.
Okay.
But the thing that I was curious about it, so I started reading it, and I'm like, okay, this is an interesting book. It's very American centric.
Yeah.
It's, from what I've read some reviews on it too, it seems kind of pseudo historical, pseudo sociological.
That's my understanding.
It's another way for people to glam on to, okay, what's happening right now? I know what it is. It's the fourth turning. Everything is going to shit. It's in the next 10 years, because the guy predicts, he said, the most recent fourth turning book, he's saying that in the next decade, we're going to exit the fourth turning and everything's going to go back to normal. We're going to have this Renaissance. America's going to come back stronger again. And so like, it's another way for us to kind of say, okay, everything's going to be okay. Like, we're going to get through this crisis period. Mm-hmm. And then on the other side, we're going to be all right. But ultimately, if we don't do shit, ain't nothing going to be all right.
Ray Dalio has the same.
Yeah.
He's got like another one. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I'm so over like growing up in like the prophetic Christian background. You know, not the good kind of prophetic. Where speaking truth to power, but like the fortune teller version.
Yeah.
Where you're like reading the tea leaves in the Bible, trying to figure it out. I'm like so over it that like anything where someone tries to tell me what is going to happen for sure. Like, and that's one of the reasons I like Marx and like Marxism. It is like a scientific, like, hey, like but it's kind of like, here's how things could play out.
Right.
Last time I talked about dialectics on here, people got big mad at me.
Well, now you've gone to Chris's little class series, so maybe you could articulate it in a way that will satisfy the commenters. I don't know. I felt like your description was good.
Yeah, I do too. I don't think it was so bad. But, but basically this idea that like you have a thesis, then there's like an antithesis from that thesis, and then you create a synthesis and you move on from there. And you keep working through and developing things. And each iteration still contains elements of its old self. Anyways, to say that like in Marxism, when you read Marxist theory, they're talking about the way things could play out, but there's also the sense in which it's not universal. Things will play out differently in different contexts with different people as the material conditions change. So like any of these things that are like, this is how this always happens, it'll happen this way again.
It's coming back around.
I mean, have y'all taken into account like that things are different?
Right.
Like
hindsight is 2020. You can't predict the future.
What's the cliche saying? Like insanity is doing the same thing again and expecting different results. Well, the same things aren't happening.
Right.
You can always manipulate it and make it look like that. Right. But that's my same beef with all of the end times prophecy shit. You can read anything into that. I wrote a long thing for my mom a couple of years ago. Like a argument for why Donald Trump is the Antichrist, and like honestly, it was really good. You know what I mean? Like there's so many reasons you could believe Trump is the Antichrist. Do I believe Trump is the Antichrist? No, I don't believe there's an Antichrist. You know what I mean? But like, so I don't know. I'm out on all that shit.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely, I went through a little bit of a phase too. Probably like my like junior to senior year of college, like conspiracies, the prophecies, like DVDs, people predicting who's going to win the next election. I saw. The fall of America is going to come. All these countries are going to bomb us in 20 or 40 years. Or I had a dream that Jesus came and told me X, Y, Z is going to happen. There's going to be a hurricane. The dollar's going to crash. Like all these sorts of ideas that people will say to find a way to make the future feel less uncertain. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, it is uncertain, right? Like I do like dialectics because it kind of gives you a framework, but it's not deterministic.
Right.
It helps you think through what's happening, to experiment, to if you're organizing, how can we find ways to create a better future together, not knowing whether it's going to work or not. We're learning, we're experimenting. Does this work? Okay, cool, keep doing it. Doesn't work? Okay, let's rethink and reframe it. Like, I think that's a much better way of trying to understand what's happening in the world than having these gurus give us the simple truth, or have Alex Jones. I read all these
100%.
articles and I'm going to tell you, because I think he's into the fourth turning, which is no surprise.
Oh, okay.
Right. Like this idea that I have the secret to tell you exactly what's happening across the board politically and what's happening across the world.
That's always a scam.
Yeah.
And speak on that, bro, because like, honestly, you know what's a distraction? We talk about like what are distractions? Everything other than educating the masses about their class, to raise class consciousness.
Yeah, that's you're right.
Organizing. Anything but that is a distraction.
Yeah.
Because really the only power we have is to raise the class consciousness of the people, so that as the contradictions of capitalism continue to grow, and there is that spontaneous rupture, which will almost indefinitely happen once nobody has any money because there's no fucking jobs, because you can't even drive Uber because little robots are taking your stuff from you. Like, and people are fed up. There needs to be enough people there to be able to help direct that energy towards something productive.
Yeah, and that is a good point, right? Like all of these things are, if anything, is a distraction from something. This is a distraction from that, and it's a good one because ultimately our material conditions are worsening, and that's the underlying thing that we're all having to deal with on a daily basis. Whether you pay attention to the news or not, your jobs are becoming more precarious. Whether you pay attention to what's happening in the war, like I do, probably too much, or not, like AI is taking people's jobs. I saw the CEO of Block, Jack Dorsey, they just laid off 40% of their employees.
Yeah, all lowercase.
Yeah. Disrespectful. Disrespectful. We can't even get a capital when you're going to downsize your whole company.
The email he sent to the whole company, he didn't capitalize anything.
He's consistent. He said, that's the way I communicate on Twitter. It's the way I'm going to communicate across the board. Yeah. So you got things like that going on. I've seen a couple other companies that are doing layoffs. And so we're like, this is the conversation we need to be having. How can we ensure that we have a standard of living in the next few years, instead of, is Iran going to defeat the U.S. and is that going to cause the end of the world? And is there a Jewish conspiracy to take over the world and cause America to decline? And is it the fourth turning? When is it going to be? Like, this is all distractions.
Yeah. Honestly, bro, I don't know that there is a world in which like things get better, a little bit better, like in the next couple of years.
I don't either.
Decent standard of living, because you know, like the system is like moving in the direction that it's moving, and like these little tiny fixes, like it just keeps prolonging the problem. Like eventually, you know, I would love to. You know what? People always accuse leftists of like kind of being doomerists or just accelerationists. Like, oh, you just want the world to get really bad so that you can have a revolution. You know what I would love to work? I would love neoliberalism to work. If think about how dope this would be. If neoliberalism worked, all we'd have to do is vote in a new Obama, right? Gavin Newsom, just change some laws, get things back on track, reestablish our norms, and then we could go back to our lives and we could stop robbing from underdeveloped countries all around the world and stealing their resources. But no, actually, that is how neoliberalism functions. Yeah. So how can things get better? Like, even if we get a little bit better of a lifestyle, I'm going on the same rant I go on every episode. Even if we get on
repetition,
if our lives get a little bit better, like they're getting better predicated on our ability to steal from people in countries that we have systematically underdeveloped. And so it's just like, I don't know, like I want a good life for my children.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But when I'm just like realistic about, we're not gonna have a revolution anytime soon either. I don't know. Maybe we will, maybe we won't.
I was listening to Hassan talk to Yanis Varoufakis, and it was interesting because Giannis, he had such an optimistic affect, but everything he was saying was so pessimistic. Yeah. And Hassan was very pessimistic in his affect, because he was like saying, like, we don't have enough people that are ready to overturn the system. Right. And he's like, I try to do what I can do. And Giannis was like, oh, you need to run for office. And
yeah.
Why would I run for office? I reach more people streaming. He's like, well, you got to step up and lead. Yeah. But Giannis was like, we have to do something, right? Because Hassan was like, we don't have enough people to overturn the system. Giannis was like, we have to do something. We have to try. Yeah. And he was chipper about that. And I was like, there's something revolutionary about that.
Yeah, that's what revolutionary optimism is.
He embodied that.
Delusional optimism.
Yeah, he embodied it because Hassan was right. Like, we don't have enough people. You know, it's like, we have to try. What else are you gonna do?
Yeah, I mean, you have to build a disciplined like revolutionary vanguard, right? Like, and that what's sad is like the only Leninist doing anything is not a Marxist Leninist; it's a reactionary Leninist in Steve Bannon.
He likes the foreturning also.
Yeah, he calls himself a Leninist because he's trying to build a vanguard, an intellectual vanguard, that once they seize the levers of power, which they viewed as getting Trump into office, that they can then shove all of their people in, get rid of all the, fire at rage, right? Retire all government employees. That's like the program they want to run behind the scenes. And put in all their people, and they got he said they got 5,000 to 7,000 folks ready to hop in. They've got the first 2,000 to 3,000 in place already.
Yeah.
But where are we building revolutionary power or education? We're not, because so many people who could be are co-opted by liberals who are just trying to keep the status quo.
Yeah. You're celebrating. Hopefully in 2 years we can go back to Gavin Newsom and business as usual.
That's right.
It's not happening. Even Nick Fuentes is like, vote Democrat in 2028.
Hilarious.
He's like, Trump ain't going far enough, so vote Democrat. All the groypers in 2026, not even 2028. He said 2026 vote Democrat, and then 2028 we're doing a hostile takeover. But the thing is, Steve Bannon is still doing the same shit that he's doing behind the scenes. Yeah. So whether Trump is there or not, they're still building the movement at the grassroots level.
That's
right. And so just having Democrats in 2026 take over the House and the Senate, even the Fuenteses and the Banners are like, cool, go ahead.
Yeah.
Because we're still working. And in 28, we're going to build a movement that cannot be taken over by a buffoon like Donald Trump. We're going to have somebody that actually knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
And is going to make sure that we don't fail this time around.
Yeah.
So that's what we're up against.
Yeah.